as I come up here and talk about it being heretical, I'm fortunate to have the next speaker because the person who was supposed to have this slot thought it was too hot to handle. And she was going to speak about media and the need for a change in media. And instead of that, I got somebody who's going to talk about media, but talk about a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Tess Cacciatore is our next speaker. Tess was waiting in the wings. She was recommended, we've met just recently, and she was recommended by several people. I did not have a spot, and I thought, I want her on this program. I love the things she's doing. So something answered my prayers, and here's Tess Cacciatore.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have to say, are we here? Can you hear me okay? I have to say that it answered my prayers as well. I got a call a few weeks ago, and I heard about this event, and I thought, okay, I would love to do it, because when I saw that it was on April 14th, I realized it was an anniversary of sorts for me. And then the possibility kind of dried up, and we were in holding pattern, and that was fine. I just said, okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I guess I don't have to go and express my vulnerable side, because the anniversary I'm about ready to explain to you was a very trying time for me. And then I got a call about 4 days ago, and as Susanna said, I stepped in at the last minute, and I prepared to come here and be with you all, so I thank you so much for being here. So April 14th, 2013 is today. A year ago, while most people were going after their taxes and trying to figure out what was going to happen for tax day, I was preparing to go the next morning to a public storage place with a truck and collect my precious belongings and move into a new home, because 17 months prior to that day, I was homeless. Now, I know the word homeless sets up a lot of emotion in people. There's devastating amounts of statistics of people that are homeless, and right now, I'm kind of the face of the homeless person right now and today. Obviously, we have vets, we have teens, we have domestic violence, women that are on the streets, and we have people that are faced with the economic challenges, which is what I did. And I jumped into the leap of faith, but I realized I don't have the clicker, and my PowerPoint is not up. Thank you so much. I knew I was missing something. So can you bring up the, yes, thank you. So I took the leap of faith, and I realized there were two things that I never got rid of. One was my vision, and the other one was my faith. So I'm in the nonprofit arena for the last 20 years, and I'm an independent producer, multimedia. So those two things were kind of swirling in the economic world for me. I still, to this day, have a lot of clients and people that have owed me money. So I started doing that really slow spiral. And then the tipping point came for me. Due to the technology, I had a man from Belgium who grew up in Congo that found me because he knew that I was a documentarian and a filmmaker, and he wanted me to do his life story so that he could run for president of Congo. And I knew about the women and children in Congo that were being brutally attacked and raped on a daily basis because of a mineral in eastern Congo called coltan. It's what operates our technology, it's what operates our computers, our phones, and it impacts us on a global scale. And these women are being brutally raped on a daily basis. And I thought, oh, if little old me in Hollywood, California could go to Africa and film a documentary about this man, and he promised me, when I get elected, not if I get elected, when I get elected, I will change international law, and I will change what's happening with the women and children. And I said, all right, let's go. And so I went on this journey with him. I started off I met him for the first time in Ghana. And Ghana was a very familiar place to me. I've been there several times. It's like a second home to me. Then I went to Angola to meet some of his relatives and continue the story and film his story. Then I went a little crazy. I went by myself into Congo with my camera. And I went and I met his family. I went to the village and met the king. I went and traveled all over the place, and I went and I interviewed the people, and he wasn't there with me. I had military chasing me. I was in life-threatening situations, and I woke up in the middle of the night and slept most nights with one eye open because I didn't know if I was going to be kidnapped because I was there in a very dangerous situation. But it's these kids that stuck with me and the women that stuck with me that kept me on that journey. Then he said, I'm going to fly you to Belgium because I need you to get my childhood. I need you to get my adult life. I need you to get everything in Belgium. So I went to Belgium. Now, if you can imagine, I only had 6 days of wardrobe with me because I thought I was going away for 6 days. It was September, and now we're in December. I had just gone down the rabbit hole. I had forgotten everything about what I was living back in LA. I forgot about my bills. I forgot about my car payment. I didn't care because he said, don't worry, I'm going to pay you at the end of the story, at the end of this trip. And I had faith, and I kept going. So I had my little African sarong. I had to go buy $2 loafers, and I borrowed a parka from this young girl who was very tiny, and I climbed on a plane to the snowstorms of Belgium, and I went into the depths of his story there, and I filmed him. And then when I got taken to the airport, he promised to give me a check for $35,000 because by this point I'd worked for him for several months. I'd risked my life for him. I risked my life because I wanted to change what was happening in Congo because after 50 years of independence, they were still not free. I was so dedicated to that I forgot about myself. So when the wife took me to the airport, instead of him, she gave me an envelope and she said, I hope this helps with your incidentals on the way home. And I opened it up and it was €100. And I said, this isn't going to work. But when I went home, I realized that these images stuck with me. The images of the military, the images of people fleeing for their life, the images of women. How could there be me when you see these images? So I'm going to shift back. I'm going to go to 20 years ago. I talked about my vision. 20 years ago, I heard about this world of technology. I got brought in as a technology producer. And I thought, oh my God, here we go. We can bridge cultures, we can connect people, we can do the virtual classroom. In the nonprofit arena, we can use collaboration rather than competition. What a concept. Except I got laughed at, I got hung up on the phone, and I got yelled at. They said, why in the heck would we want to do that? So in 1994, I decided to create a box set of music. And it wasn't just the typical box set. I could have very easily gone to go do the celebrities and one box set, but no, I needed to go get 47 artists of unknown musicians from around the world because I wanted to support the indie artists. I wanted to support all the people that weren't known. So I created this box set, and I took it a step further. It was an interactive box set. So when people didn't even have personal computers and emails, I was saying, oh yeah, you put this into your computer and videos will pop up and you can learn about the artist and everything will be great. And they looked at me like I was completely crazy. And I probably was. Then in 1994, another technology disconnect in my world was the fact that I had a couple of friends and we sat around 24/7 for about 8 months coming up with the concept of an online auction. We got our business plan together, we went and presented to investors, and they said, online auction will never happen. September 5th, the next year, eBay. The virtual classroom back in '95, you can ask anybody that has known me back then, I've been barking about the virtual classroom, I've been speaking about it around the world because I believe that technology can really connect us and really be done in a reasonable and responsible way. So here we are today with technology. Is it abuse or empowerment? I believe it's both. We have children that you can buy on the internet for human trafficking or access child pornography. We have children that are being abused in schools with school bullying, and the suicide rate is ridiculous. We need to shift this statistic. And we also have the place where rape victims are being brutally victimized after they are raped. They have to live with the fact that their rape is on the internet. We need to do something about this. So my solution over the last 17 months prior to moving into my place a year ago was to put the oxygen mask on myself. I had to get to the place of me. I had to get to the place where even though I was traveling around, moving 12 times in 17 months, I had a couple of suitcases, a couple of boxes, and 2 cats. And I had to realize that home was within me, and that no matter where I was, no matter where I traveled, if I was in the Congo, if I was living on someone's couch, if I was helping them do whatever, house sitter, whatever I could do, that I needed to do it for me, because then that would give me the power to get back to the we. And the solution of the we came from a time about a little over a year ago, I had the blessing that I was able to meet a man by the name of Michael Littenberg, who was on this similar path. He had the funding and the heart, and I had the 20-year vision. And we came together and we created Global Women's Empowerment Network, otherwise known as GWEN. And I always have to say, we can't do GWEN without the men. The Global Women's Empowerment Network is about transforming lives beyond abuse. It could be physical, emotional, spiritual, financial. I certainly have gone through a lot of those. And now we're launching the GWEN Network, which is taking all of those visions that I had in the 90s and bringing it back together, where we can have collaboration, we can bring education, we can shift everything with regard to the internet and bringing people together to do good. So remember the World Jam 1? The music that I found, the musicians I found in Congo and in Europe was supposed to be the soundtrack for the documentary. I put them all together, and we're now releasing the world music of the GWEN music label. I just got this artwork 2 days ago, so you guys are the first ones to be able to see it. We also created, speaking of technology, is a phone app. So anyone who has a smartphone, I hope you're smart enough to download it. You get to load up 5 of your closest friends, and if you're ever in an emergency, you click one button, and they're notified in a second where you are and that you're in trouble. It's a very important app to have. High school, college, domestic violence, traveling alone. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is the seniors, or the college, the sorority girls. 1 in 4 college students of the women are sexually assaulted in their college careers. We have to change that statistic. So how about if we were to, instead of buy a child, we got to change the law? What about if we were, instead of school bullying, we got to get self-esteem and courage for our kids from a very, very early age, because when they grow up and they're fully loved and they're fully empowered, they're going to make better decisions than I did. And then what about the people that are raped? How about if we give them community support? And that's what the GWEN Network is about to do, and what we are doing. In closing, when I was thinking about what I was feeling, and the vision came into my head about the sea turtle, and I found this image for me to share with you. The sea turtle, to me, is a beautiful creature underwater, and sometimes it gets tumbled up in the rough waters of the ocean, which I definitely have, and I know that most of you have as well. But the most important part of it is to really acknowledge the shame and the blame. I know I've had so much shame and I've had so much blame in my life. And I'm hoping that we can shift that. I'm hoping that we can just realize that we're in this world together. All of us have things that we've done that we're not proud of, but we have to let them go. I have the vision of this turtle with this hard shell, but what if we were to flip the turtle over and expose the soft underbelly and open our hearts and open our minds and open our souls to be able to heal? We want to provide a place for people to have a safe place to share their stories, because every one of us has a story to share. So, reveal to heal. And thank you very much. And I do want to say, I'm very surprised to say that tomorrow I'm actually happy that I'll be running around trying to figure out my taxes this year, because last year I wasn't. I can't believe I'd ever say that. Thank you so much.